Hey everyone, and welcome back to Overland Trails Adventures. And in today's video, we are permanently installing the Starlink Gen 3 in our four-wheel camper. Let's get started. Okay, you may be asking yourself, why permanently install it whenever you can just set it out and plug it in? Part of the challenges that we face is obviously we want to be a lot quicker on our setup. So mounting the dish to the roof or making it a little bit easier to set up is always an option that we look at, as well as plugging in the router into our inverter, and all the cables laying everywhere is not really that great of an option. Plus the inverter loses 3% battery power, and it just kind of sucks the batteries dry a little bit faster. And this is kind of it's a little bit of a hog, you know, in power, about 56 volts. So what we've done is we've found the kit, the Trio mount kit, that we're looking to go ahead and use for the mount for this, or possibly leave this out and more mobile, just plug in and set up. We'll get to more of that later. Convert the 110 volt to 12 volt with this converter here, where you plug this into your 12 volt system. This plugs into the back of the router and you mount this somewhere in your camper. That way you can put this on a toggle switch, or you can just take this and we're going to wire this directly into our RedArc Rogue management system, to where we can turn it on either at the panel or from the app itself. This battery supply will then go away because this will replace that. So a little bit more weight, a little bit less to deal with. And this router will mount underneath the counter within the camper kitchen. Now you may be asking yourself, why didn't we go with the Starlink Mini? It's already got the router built in, it's got the 12 volt already lined up, easier to install, less space kind of a deal. Well, at the time of purchase, the Mini was not available. And quite frankly, I've been reading a lot of stuff that is not that great in receiving a high band signal. We need a lot of internet signal, a high strength kind of a deal. The bigger dish gives us more coverage to be able to capture a better signal, which we're always going to need. If we're working from the road like we plan to do often, then we need as much internet access and power that we can get, as much capturing and coverage this will give us. So first things first, we're going to get the 12 volt converter installed into the camper and attached to the Rogue system. So part of where we're going to mount the system at to keep it out of the way, obviously we can't put it down inside the electrical cabinet. Let me show you. Inside this little cabinet right here, there is lots of space, but we're not going to put it up here because we want to use this space for something else. Get that out of the way. What we have is a huge space right here that we can run the wiring, connect everything, set it down in there. Now this is one of the things I love about four-wheel campers. Look at how neat these wires are. They're crimped so they don't just flop around. So I mean, not crimped, but they're pinched so they lay right. Everything is laid out equally distanced. Everything is positioned really well. There's a channel under here that you can see everything coming through. It's installed great. It's fused, it's tied off properly, it's crimped properly. This is just beautiful work, and I hope I can just make it not look like a mess, with my little wiring being added. All right, let's prep the wires. We're gonna go ahead and run, make sure we got plenty of length, and start crimping the ends. To run the wiring, we're going to come into this cabinet, into the under channel here. I'm gonna pull this with enough length to go over to this channel here. And with that, we'll be able to plug in directly to the Rogue. One of the things though is, because the negative bus bar and the connector to the Rogue are so far apart, we're going to go ahead and split this wire into two parts. Alright, we've got enough wire, I believe, stretched from the Rogue all the way to the cabinet. Cut that off here with a little bit of extra. One of the things I've been trying to do with my toolkit over the years is stop doing it with a pocket knife and a pair of pliers, crimpers. Get actual tools that allow you to do the job faster, cleaner, more professional. And this is what I mean by that. You take a pair of crimpers that are actually designed to crimp this, put it on the lowest setting right there. And it's got a ratchet built in. You crimp it down. Boom, you're done. It's clean and simple. Not coming apart. The shielding is covering the wires, protected. So it makes it nice and easy. Now this is going to go to the negative bus bar. And I got to prep this side to go into the converter. And we're going to do the same thing with the positive. Now, when installing a converter of this size, I was advised to use a 56 amp fuse in the fuse block that goes to the Rogue. So I got that. As well as I've got these connectors that I'm going to crimp to connect my power wire to my converter box. So where I'm going to drill the hole at is under this panel on that back wall. Let me go figure out how I'm going to drill that hole right there. And I've looked at a video on the four-wheel camper website that shows the frame. So there's a plate right there that holds that, and that's where you're supposed to put the all the major power inlets. But to the left of that, right over there, that's just an open space with supports on either side. So that should be an easy drill through the outside, the insulation, and into this interior plate. Okay, now that we've got the converter installed, the router installed, lights up and tested, can be powered on directly from the radar control panel. So now that we've got the router and the converter installed and tested, what we've got to do is get the cable from the router to the dish outside of the vehicle. One of the ways to do this is mount it on the outside and just run it through some sort of Glen cable or something, or a Glen port or something like that. What we have decided to do, since we want to make the dish placement flexible, is we're going to install this. What this is a external port RJ45 connector for like an RV. You screw it in, mount it to the outside, run the cable from the router to the back of this. You set the dish wherever you want to and plug it into here, and then the dish lights up. I've tested this connector and it works just by putting the cable in. We're going to dig into that, drill a hole, a 1-inch hole. We're going to drill a 1-inch hole into the side of a very expensive camper and install this. Yeah, that's kind of scary, but we're going to go for it. Now comes the most scary part of this whole project, is taking this drill, this 1-inch bit here, and drilling a hole right here in the side to where I can install the connector that connects to the router, allows us to connect the dish to the router from the inside, just a quick RJ45 connector. So woo! That is one thick wall. No wonder these things are so insulated. And now the cable. So next we've got our internet cable ran out through the hole. We're going to take our connector and we're going to connect it like so. And we're going to seal this up and mount it right there. Now the hole's a little bit bigger, so we're going to put a lot of sealant in there. Part of the challenge here is the walls are thicker than this. May come back with some Sikaflex and seal it a little bit. I need to, and I'll seal it from the inside. Okay, we got it good and sealed inside, so let's do some testing and see. Got the router connected, router is powered on, so let's go connect the dish. All right, we have connection. Starlink is calculating, so that should line up here in a minute. This does mean that the connector works, the cable works, the installation works, and so everything is firing up. All right, Starlink has been fired up, connected for about 10 or so minutes now. My phone's connected to it. Let's run a quick speed test. 88 down, 15 up. That's pretty much good for anything video wise, conference call wise, you know, doing any work, hooking up any servers or anything like that. So testing a YouTube video, looking at watching a Brad here at Expo Mountain East, Mountain West, I think, on Trail Recon, low and good and high def. If you have any questions about how to install the Starlink in a four-wheel camper, how the wiring works and stuff like that, I'm no expert, but I can give you a little bit of information. I'll list all of the equipment I used below. I'll do a review of this and, you know, however many months, you know, after a couple of trips, let you know how it works. I think this is pretty much a good success. It's tested well, high speeds, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see you down the trails.